What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Swanky Disc Golf. Today we are counting down the top 10 discs released in 2022. At number 10, we have the Infinite Discs Dynasty. Now, the Infinite Discs Dynasty is a really important disc because Infinite is starting to really fill in their lineup, and they have now put in a super controllable 9-speed fairway driver. The numbers are 9.5, -1.2. You can get a ton of distance out of this thing. It's not too overstable, it's not too understable. Their iBlend plastic is really cheap, really accessible, and Infinite Discs, there's a lot of people who are starting to throw and want to bag a lot more Infinite, and they're filling in their lineup, and this was a huge disc for them, so that's why it's coming in at number 10 on our list. Coming in at number 9, we actually have the Discmania Cloudbreaker. This is one of those discs that is kind of an adaptive mold, but it is a new mold. 2022, Discmania started rolling out these Creator Series discs, and they have their own manufacturing now, and they started putting out new Eagle McMahon Cloudbreakers that are a 12-speed distance driver, but they are a different mold from the original Cloudbreakers. The real reason they're on the list is because these discs are incredible. They're in this awesome new sort of S-blend plastic from Discmania, and they're available. You can actually buy a Cloudbreaker right now on Discmania's website, and as of this recording, they're actually on sale for $20, which is crazy. Because of their own manufacturing, they now can sort of control a little bit better the availability of these discs. You can support Eagle McMahon, get this really cool S-blend plastics, and that's why they're coming in at number 9 on the list. Now jumping into number 8, this was a big one this year, the Paul McBeth Athena. Now the reason this disc made such huge waves this year is because it filled a huge gap in Paul McBeth's lineup, an overstable 7-speed fairway driver. The numbers are 7.502, and more you're finding that just about every disc golfer out there is looking for their go-to 7.502 disc. The closest thing that Discraft I think had to this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was the Stalker, which I think was 7.5 -1.2, and it didn't have quite the stability some people were looking for, and also Discraft didn't really pay attention to it. They don't put it out in a lot of plastics. It's just kind of there in the background. You can pick one up if you want. But the Paul McBeth Athena is also filling this huge gap in the Discraft lineup because it's a true overstable 7-speed, and it's going to be getting limited runs, different plastics, different stamps, bunch of releases and stuff like that, because Discraft is gonna want to pay attention to this disc. So it really is huge for Discraft, and I feel like you don't get that quite as much anymore, whereas some of the smaller companies are coming out with new molds all the time. Discraft has a pretty firm lineup, and you don't get new discs from them super often. So this huge, awesome new mold, the Paul McBeth Athena, is number 8 on our list. Coming in at number 7 on our list, we have actually the DGA Vortex. The numbers are 7.5, -2.1. It is an extremely flippy fairway driver, but it's a really incredible disc out of DGA, and I think a lot of people are liking to see the sort of life that has come out of DGA this year, them signing Katrina Allen and Andrew Marweed, and they're putting out these really awesome discs. The DGA Vortex is a phenomenal, super flippy, really good woods disc. They have it in a few different plastics, and all around it's just a really good disc, and we like to see it. It's Discraft plastic. DGA does an awesome job with these molds, and can't wait to see more from them in the future, but that's number 7, the DGA Vortex. Next on our list, coming in at number 6, we have the Rico X. This is a really big release for Castaplast because they have the Rico, which is like the favorite putting putter of a lot of Castaplast players, but they are sort of missing a higher speed approach disc that is overstable. And so the Rico X is just a retooled, overstable Rico. The numbers on it are 3.302. We know that a lot of Castaplast players are throwing the Berg. For some reason, it's an overstable approach disc, but for those sort of more distance approach shots or like shots off the tee where you want to throw an overstable putter, you now have the Rico X to look to, and the Rico is such a good disc with such good plastics. Talking about lineups that are filling up, Castaplast is doing an incredible job of putting out discs, and that's why the Rico X is number 6 on the list. Speaking of approach discs, coming in at number 5, we have the MVP Glitch. Talk about discs that made waves this year. The Glitch was probably the most talked about disc of the entire year. MVP calls it a hybrid catch disc. It's marketed as being great for warming up before rounds. You can throw it with your friends. It's a good glidey approach disc for any time you might need that. The numbers on it are 1700, a 7 glide. So you throw it, it's really effortless distance. Some of you might know I did a tournament using only this disc. And that being said, it was not a great experience, but that's because it's meant for a couple purposes, and in those purposes, it does an incredible job. There was one hole that was over 300 feet long, and I was in circle 1 throwing the glitch. And I don't throw very far, but the glide on this thing is insane. It's also fun to just keep in the bag. And I know some people don't love the whole like hybrid catch disc thing, but I have seen people throwing these around at tournaments while they're waiting for the round to start, things like that. It is actually a great multi-use disc to have in your bag because you can't really just carry an Ultra Star in your bag super easily or something like that. The glitch is an awesome disc. I will say it's meant for a couple of very niche purposes. It's not the most versatile disc in the world, but it's really, really cool, and obviously one of the most talked about discs of the year, so it had to make the list, and it's coming in at number 5. All right, coming in at number 4, getting down to the wire, we have the Finish Line Era. Now, the Finish Line is a line of discs from Drew Gibson, and they just released the Era, which is a 10-speed control driver that people are loving. The numbers on it are 10.5, -1, 1.5, and it's just a super straight flying control driver. There are some releases I've heard that are a little bit more overstable. It will give you like a stable finish, but it has a fairly neutral flight. One of the best parts about it is you can get these things for like $15. They come in 2 different plastics, and both plastics are amazing. One of them's a little bit more gummy than the other. I believe it's forge and composite plastics. And one of those is more overstable than the other. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the composite plastic. But an incredible disc from Drew Gibson. It's really cool to see him putting out this line of discs, and the Era has been thrown by a lot of people. I think they just came out with the Finish Line Supra also. So a lot of cool things coming out of Drew Gibson and Finish Line. Be sure to check out the Finish Line Era. We are now on the top 3, and just before we jump into it, I want to remind you that we are trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're doing this huge giveaway. Hello, it is me from the future. Or the past. Either way, reminding you that we are doing this huge giveaway this year. If we hit 30,000 subscribers, we're going to give away this Simon Lizotte Grip AX5 bag to one of you guys. And thanks to Disc Golf Deals USA, we are adding 25 discs to the bag to give away. So far in the giveaway, we have a K1 Soft CAC Z. We have a OG Glow Jawbreaker Ledgestone Buzz. We have a Thought Space Discs Mantra. We have an Iron Samurai 4 from Discmania. We also have a Glow Sphea from Castoplast. We have a beautiful A2 300 plastic from Prodigy. We have a limited edition Streamline Ascend. We also just added to the bag this Castoplast Grim X K1 Soft plastic. Feels amazing. And then we also have this gorgeous Envy. It is a Prism Plasma plastic. Absolutely beautiful. We have a limited edition Luna in Big Z plastic. And then to top it all off, we have our R2 Nomad from MVP. And now we are going to add yet another insane disc to this bag. All right, for day 12, our 12th disc going in the bag is a Finish Line Era, I think. I'm not gonna lie, there's no name embossed on the back, but it's a factory second Finish Line disc. I'm assuming it's an Era, and it's going in the bag. Don't forget, you can go to discgolfdealsusa.com and use code SWANKY10 to get 10% off their entire store all of this month in December and all of next month in January, so be sure to check it out. Now let's jump back into the video. All right, coming in at number 3, we have the Trash Panda Inner Core. The numbers on this disc are 2, 4, -0.50, and it's on this list for so many reasons. First off, it's one of the few, if not the only disc that is used from 100% recycled plastic. Not recycled disc plastic or sort of reused disc plastic. It is 100% plastic that came from a landfill and then was turned into a disc. And on top of that, it's one of the first discs, if not the first disc again, probably the first disc to ever be manufactured truly by a YouTuber. Like, it's Trash Panda manufacturing, and this all started with a guy making videos in his garage. And I just think that's so cool. It's telling us a lot about what the disc golf sort of creator space is capable of. Trash Panda leading the way and creating his own manufacturer, essentially. And of course, that is all great in and of itself, but it wouldn't mean quite as much if the disc wasn't very good. But this disc has been received by the community with open and excited arms because it flies phenomenally. There's no shortage of reviews of it out there. They're all over the place. We have one on our review channel, and this disc flies like a dream. The plastic feels good also is what's crazy about it. It feels nice. So yeah, Jesse from Trash Panda making all sorts of noise this year. We're super excited about it, and that's why number 3, we have the Trash Panda Inner Core. At number 2 on the list, we have the Lone Star Discs Armadillo. The numbers on this guy are 1201. It's good to have on the list, I think, because Lone Star has put out, I think, the majority of their molds this year. They have a full lineup now of discs, and they're doing an awesome job with it. It just so happens that our personal favorite, I think, has been the Armadillo, which is funny because I am not a one-speed person, I'm finding out, but the Armadillo is kind of convincing me. It just has, in my very personal opinion, a really seamless hand feel in comparison to some other one-speed discs out there. It has a really subtle thumb track. It has a nice flight. It's not too overstable. It's not too understable. It's really controllable, pretty versatile. And the Lone Star Discs Armadillo is coming in at number 2. Granted, like I mentioned, they put out a lot of discs this year, and we just think they're doing a really good job overall. There's probably a lot of Lone Star discs that could have made this list. Let us know what you think about that in the comments below. And then the number 1 disc release of 2022, again, subjective opinion, let us know what you guys think, is the Clash Discs Cookie. Clash Discs filled in a lot of their lineup this year. For those of you who don't know, it's a company out of Finland, and they are doing really cool things. There are a lot of new manufacturers, but very few of them are doing something so unique as Clash Discs. Now, of course, we know their marketing and branding is unique. They've named all of their discs based off of either like food or flavors, things like that. Really cool. The Cookie and the Soda were both favorite of ours, which are understable, overstable fairway drivers. The Cookie is a 7502, and like I mentioned, with so many new disc offers looking for 7502 discs, Clash jumped in to the party at the right time. This disc is incredible, and it is unique. It has this very smooth, rounded rim, unlike really anything I've ever felt before. I think a lot of people have been saying the Boreum Loft has a similar, just smooth, rounded rim. Their plastic is really good. I've mentioned this a few times. The main downside is that their discs are really expensive, especially here in the United States. I don't know about how it is in Finland, but they do come at a premium price. But they are really premium plastic. They just released their first Glow Cookie in these mystery boxes. Clash Discs is killing it. They could also probably have a couple discs on this list, but our personal favorite has been the Cookie. It's potentially going to kick the Instinct from Discmania out of my bag. I'm still not sure about that yet, testing them out. But that's the list, guys. Please let us know what we missed. Let us know what discs were your favorite, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Stay swanky.